From orphan to millionaire, but I still visit the bench where I slept. It's funny, you know. My life now is a fortress of polished granite and floor-to-ceiling glass. I own a house so big, I lose track of which wing I'm in sometimes. I drive a car that whispers instead of roars, a sleek, black thing that feels more like a spaceship. People see me, and they see success. They see the guy who made it. They have no idea I still spend my quietest moments sitting on a cold, wooden bench in a small, forgotten park, a place no one ever notices. A place I once called home. My name is Leo, and I'm 32 years old. I've been a millionaire for about 5 years now, but the part of me that remembers the biting cold of that bench is a lot older. It's a part of me that never gets to be 32. It's still just a scared, skinny kid, freezing and alone. I was 8 when my parents were in that car accident. It's a memory I've kept locked away, but sometimes, a smell or a sound brings it all back. The smell of burning rubber, the wail of sirens. 1 minute, we were a family, laughing about something my dad said, and the next, I was holding a police officer's hand, being told I was an orphan. It wasn't long before I was at the orphanage, a place that smelled like stale food and old blankets. That's where I met Mrs. Evelyn. She was 63 then, a woman with a kind face that was all wrinkles and a laugh that sounded like crinkled paper. She was the headmistress, but she was more than that to me. She was the one who made sure I had an extra blanket on a cold night, the one who saw me as Leo, not just one of the kids. She had this one saying she'd repeat. Leo, my dear, a person's true wealth isn't in what they own, but in what they give. Your heart is your richest treasure. I'd just nod, but I didn't really get it. How could a heart be rich when your stomach was empty? When you didn't have a jacket that fit? When you felt invisible to the rest of the world? I stayed at the orphanage until I was 16, when the law said I was old enough to be on my own. I packed the few things I had, a couple of shirts, a pair of worn-out jeans, and a small, smooth stone Mrs. Evelyn had given me. She said it was for good luck. She hugged me tight, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel so alone. But then I was on the street. The first few days were a blur. I was just trying to figure out where to get my next meal, where to find a warm place to sleep. The city was huge and loud, and I was just a tiny, insignificant speck in it. That's when I found the bench. It was tucked away in a small park, a little patch of green surrounded by concrete and steel. The park was mostly empty, especially at night. It was my sanctuary, my refuge, and my bed. I remember that first night on the bench. The wood was hard and cold. The streetlights cast long, strange shadows. Every sound made me jump. I curled into a ball, clutching the small stone from Mrs. Evelyn, trying to believe it was a lucky charm. It was the loneliest I had ever felt, a feeling that cut deeper than any cold wind. The bench was a strange home. The concrete ground was my kitchen. The trees were my walls. The sky was my ceiling, and sometimes, the stars were my only company. I learned to watch the world from the sidelines. I saw the business people in their suits rushing to work, their faces serious and focused. I saw the parents pushing strollers, their laughter echoing through the park. I watched it all, feeling like I was in a movie, a character no one could see. I was there, but I wasn't really there. One day, I found a job. It wasn't glamorous, just a little corner market, stocking shelves and sweeping floors for a few bucks an hour. The owner was a man named Mr. George, a kind old man with a perpetually tired look and hands that were always covered in flour from the small bakery he ran in the back. He was 71, and his joints ached, but he never complained. He just worked. He saw me, really saw me, for the first time in a long time. He didn't ask about my home, he just asked if I was hungry. He'd hand me a stale loaf of bread at the end of the day, a simple gesture that felt like the greatest gift in the world. Mr. George wasn't a hero in a movie. He was just a guy, but his simple kindness was a lifeline. He taught me to be on time, to be honest, to work hard. He taught me that a person's word was their most valuable possession. He taught me that a little bit of effort, a little bit of care, could make a huge difference. I didn't stay at the market for long. I learned as much as I could, then started looking for more. I got a job as a carpenter's apprentice. The work was brutal, my hands were always sore, but I loved it. I loved the smell of sawdust, the feel of the wood, the way something beautiful could be created from a simple plank. I worked 2 jobs, then 3, saving every penny. The bench was still my home, but now it felt a little different. It felt like a launching pad. It was still cold and hard, but I was no longer a victim on it. I was a person with a plan. I started taking on my own small projects, building simple furniture for neighbors. The work was slow at first, but with every piece I created, my reputation grew. My business grew, slowly at first, then faster and faster. I rented a small workshop, then a bigger one, then I hired my first employee. I named my company, The Sturdy Bench, a tribute to the foundation of my life. The money came in, and with it came the things. The big house, the luxury car, the fancy suits. The people who saw me now treated me with respect. I was no longer the invisible kid on the bench. I was the guy with the corner office. I had everything I ever thought I wanted. I had gone from being a nobody to a somebody. But there was a strange, hollow feeling that came with it. One night, after a long day of meetings and paperwork, I found myself in my giant house, staring out the window at a perfectly manicured lawn, and I felt nothing. The emptiness was suffocating. I had all this stuff, but it didn't fill the hole inside me. The hole that was created by the cold, hard reality of those years on the street. All the money in the world couldn't erase the memory of that bench. So I went back. I drove my silent, sleek car through the streets I used to walk, the streets that felt like a maze I would never escape. I found the park, smaller and more vibrant than I remembered, with children on the swings and dog walkers passing by. And there it was, the bench. It looked the same, weather-beaten and old, the wood a little faded. The very same bench that was my fortress, my shelter, my friend. I sat down. It was a cool evening, and the air was crisp. The wood was just as hard as I remembered. I pulled out the small, smooth stone from my pocket. I've carried it with me for all these years. It was a tangible link to my past, to Mrs. Evelyn, to the scared kid I used to be. I sat there for a long, long time. I wasn't cold. I wasn't scared. I wasn't lonely. I was just there. And for the first time in a long time, I felt truly at peace. That bench isn't a reminder of my failure. It's a reminder of my strength. It reminds me of the kid who didn't give up, of the kindness of a woman named Mrs. Evelyn and a man named Mr. George. It reminds me that my true wealth isn't in the cars or the houses or the suits. It's in the lessons I learned, the gratitude I feel for every small act of kindness that helped me get to where I am today. My life is a testament to the fact that it's not the money that makes you rich. It's the moments on the cold, hard bench that teach you what truly matters. I'll always go back, just to remember. It's the one thing that keeps me grounded. The one thing that keeps me from becoming hollow.